Did you know that flooding can be caused by littering? Every snack bag or plastic bag you toss into the streets can find its way into our drains, causing them to become blocked. The improper disposal of waste or rubbish at an inappropriate location can be defined as littering. Although littering is illegal in Barbados and is a punishable offense, some individuals can be seen tossing their litter from vehicles, dumping their garbage on open lots, and even, in some cases, throwing dead animals in open canals. These unsightly practices need to stop, since they pose health risks and can even cause significant flooding, especially during the hurricane season. The Drainage Division was created as a way to remedy this problem. Its staff members work assiduously to ensure that Barbados has an effective drainage system.
The Drainage Division was brought into being in 1995, between 95 and 96. And in that time, our mandate at that time was mainly dealing with wells and watercourses, such like. Our role have expanded over the years, and therefore we do the entire gamut now of drainage works across the island, from St. Lucie to St. Philip. We would deal with not only wells, but we would also deal with the clearing of watercourses, the keeping of drainage reserves, also the clearing of drains and the like. All the drainage features across the island, we maintain them, or at least it's our responsibility to maintain them. And therefore, when the Drainage Division's mandate as it is right now have been expanded to cover all these things, you would appreciate that we have done over the years good enough service. We've reduced flooding in many a community. We have also kept a number of major watercourses clear. We have also kept a number of wells in good order. So in terms of our work, we do everything with respect to drainage.
Some items found by the Drainage Division's personnel in drains may be a bit hard to imagine.
Okay, so over the years we have seen, as you saw in Bridge Gap, we've seen pallets, we've seen buckets, we've seen garbage cans. At one point in time, we also saw dead animals. One particular drain that I know of, we saw a young pig, and that piglet actually blocked the drain, and that caused the community to flood tremendously. We came and we saw that, we removed the animal, and the community was then put back to normal. But we also see things like car parks, the bonnets. We see seats, car seats. We have seen just about anything that you can find in your house. We saw prams. We've seen strollers. Our drains have taken several things over the years, and we continue to see those things day in and day out, year in, year out. What we would like persons to do is to just dispose of these things properly in the correct manner, so that we'll be able to stop those things from happening. We also know that there are also some side, what they call wayside mechanics or wayside bodywork men, and we're not preventing them from working. All we are telling them, in some cases where they're mechanics, not to let the oils from the vehicles run out onto the road, because as long as they run onto the road, they will get into the drainage structure and they will prevent the well from functioning.
Their task is exacerbated when persons come into communities and dispose of their garbage. But on the other hand, sometimes individuals don't exercise community mindedness and are responsible for causing problems in their own communities.
So in communities, we ask that persons who live in certain communities, and these are communities which are either along a watercourse or in areas where we know that watercourses pass, this particular community being one of them, where residents would understand to dispose of your garbage carefully. We would have bins set up that they would be able to put them into the bins. And if you find as a community that the bins that are there become full, there's absolutely nothing wrong in letting the Sanitation Service Authority know that they need to have a quick pickup or an urgent pickup in your community, such that the municipal garbage does not get away and fall into the drains. Now, what has been happening in many communities is that if it wasn't for vigilant individuals who would go around and make sure that the garbage does not get into the drain, then we have a situation where the garbage does get there. It blocks up either the well or the watercourse. The water then leaves the drain, and in some instances they actually enter persons' houses. We have had situations where grass cuttings over the time came down, they blocked a particular drain in a community. The water level rose in excess of 2 feet, and it started to enter a house. When we got there, we then recognized what the difficulty was. One of our operatives came out, he cleared the particular drain and all the waterway. And we were trying to impress upon that community how important it is to make sure that during the rain, that someone keeps a visual, whoever is nearest to the drainage structure keeps a visual, so that they'll be able to see what is happening, and in the event that they need to either use a raincoat or an umbrella to come out and just do some minor clearing, because sometimes it's the minor clearing that greatly assists in preventing the drainage structure from either being inundated or prevent the drainage structure from not functioning at all.
With the devastation caused by Hurricanes Maria and Irma in our neighboring Caribbean islands, there is major concern as the hurricane season progresses that some individuals do not seem to be taking the call not to litter seriously.
Heading into any hurricane season in Barbados, it becomes a time for us when we are extremely vigilant. We try to do most of our work during the dry season, where we would do the clearing of watercourses. We would also look at what wells we would need to clear and clean, what drains that need to be maintained. Some of them even need to be reconstructed. So we would travel with all those before the hurricane season, but usually during or coming up to the hurricane season, what we would also like residents and Barbadians to know is that litter is our greatest enemy in terms of drainage. We would find from time to time that indiscriminate disposal of litter would give us tremendous drainage challenges. Also, we would have that landowners, when they cut their lawns and the grass cuttings, if you don't dispose of these things properly, then by just leaving them on the ground, the water takes them away and takes them directly to a drainage feature. Some drainage structure, either it be a watercourse, may it be an open drain, may it even be a well. And when that happens, those garbage and litter causes the drainage structure not to function. We also have a difficulty with persons with indiscriminate dumping, and that now has to do with haulers, where trucks would clear up a particular site, and instead of taking the deposed material to the landfill or to a designated site as the Sanitation Service Authority would want, some people find it easier to dump them either next to a gully in an open area, sometimes even a depression. This is a dangerous practice, because what happens in a depression is that it would have been there to collect a certain volume of water that would also assist the community. It would also keep that water there and take it into the ground so that we can have recharge of the aquifers as well. When persons have dumped materials that shouldn't be in these depressions or watercourses, what they're doing is removing some of the volume, and sometimes they remove the depression altogether. And that leads to flooding downstream. So waters that would have been kept upstream now travels downstream and causes havoc. We also have challenges with respect to just in Bridgetown, where persons would have cook shops or snackets or whatever the case is. Many times, even with something as simple as the Baxter's Road Mall, what happens there with the fish vendors and stuff like that. We also want people to understand that when you go there and frequent those places, to dispose of your garbage in the correct manner. There are usually bins not far away, and we are expressing the interest to the Sanitation Service Authority to increase the number of bins in those areas so that we'll be able to deal with that litter. Now in Bridgetown, there are no wells. There are only canals and open drains or box drains, and these lead to the central area where we have the Princess Alice Pump House, and that deposes materials to the water to the sea. So if, for example, we have a situation where the garbage is built up tremendously or significantly, then when it gets to the pump house, it causes all types of problems and difficulties along the way and also at the pump house location.
It is also advisable that persons refrain from walking in floodwaters unless this is absolutely necessary.
During a flood event, you would appreciate that if, for example, an area becomes inundated, the water does not choose where to go. It would go into septic wells as well. So you will find that in some areas, dead animals that would be in a flood event, we try to tell persons not to walk into the flood waters unless it's absolutely necessary. In other words, if it had to do with your life and your property, try to keep out of the flood waters, because those flood waters are usually, the quality of the water is extremely low, and we will find several things in the water itself, and we would hope that persons would recognize that they need to take precautions to ensure that they do not walk in the water barefooted or in short pants, or even try to bend down and pick things up, because the quality of the water is so low that you can contract whatever it is that is there. So we try to tell persons during a flood event, try to stay out of the flood waters.
Always use a garbage can when disposing of garbage. And you can cut down on your waste by recycling. Littering is not only unsightly, but it's dangerous and it's simply wrong. We must work together to keep this country pristine and beautiful for all to enjoy. Littering is unacceptable. You can be a responsible citizen by not littering.
I think everybody should play a part. You get what I mean? I do my best. If I eat a man, I just carry on the paper. Honestly. You get what I mean? If I use tissue, I don't drop it. I will carry it home and dispose of it.
Well, littering have a lot to do with it too. Because I find, yesteryear, this country was very clean. Now, I find it's very, very much with too many garbage all over around. I guess because of the sanitation problem.
Actually, yeah, I believe so, because when you litter and stuff like that, you end up clogging up pipes, and then you end up with overflow water and stuff like that. So sewage and the same problem in Hastings can end up being a problem, because if you litter in pipes and places like that, then that same sewage that overflowing in the streets could be even worse.
Littering to me, especially like containers from like restaurants and stuff, they definitely block, you know what I'm saying, like the I guess with the path where the water usually takes. So definitely the connection, that's what I see it personally.